Okay, coming back to this. If you have parts to your question, which most of you will, because you'll have at least two variables in your question, you have to explain why those parts are valuable. For example, my dissertation was on student sense of belonging in middle schools and what that had to do with their ethnicity and their academic achievement. So I had to explain, first of all, what sense of belonging was, what the role of sense of belonging in school was, what sense of belonging had to do with ethnicity in terms of do different ethnic groups have different sense of belongings. Sense of belonging in middle schools. How does sense of belonging differ from elementary to middle to high school? And also talk about academic achievement because that was one of my questions also. So each of those sections of your question or each of the parts of your research study need to have a section within your paragraph and where you talk about all those parts. You want to be able to make a case for inconsistent results as you gather more and more research about that. If you find conflicting information, then you need to include that. If one author does a study and it comes up with a certain set of results, but another author does a similar study, then it has different results. Include both of them and say there's some inconsistencies here, and that's the reason that I'm choosing this research topic. And remember, when people look at your research, they're looking for things that are wrong with it. And the best way to win an argument is take the wind out of someone else's sails. So you want to be able to present as much information as possibly known about your topic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to provide an example of a literature review to you, several pages long. And there's also 11 questions I want you to look at with that. And I'm going to put you in groups in the discussion board, and I'll put all these instructions in an announcement that goes along with this video. So what I want you to do is look at that literature review, look at the 11 questions that come with that, and all this information is included in the Class 4 notes, and discuss whether or not the literature review that I provided to you is sufficient. Does it meet all the guidelines of that? And that also will kind of give you some examples of what your literature review should look like. After that, then, that's another thing. As you develop your literature review, you need to use those questions to guide you in writing yours. When you write your literature review, you will write a rough draft. As I said, is worth 25 points. You'll turn it in. I'll make some comments on it, and then you go back and polish it up for the final draft of it, which is worth quite a few more points. And if you ever have any questions as we go through this, then I'll provide some feedback to you that way as well. The other thing we're going to do in the discussion board over the next week is in groups of 3 or 4 is we're going to discuss what your topic might be. And I've also have a paper in there called Guidelines for Choosing a Topic. And it's just a way of narrowing the focus on it. And really the best way to do that is to get feedback from other people in terms of what you want to do and creating a very specific question for your research topic. So I will set both those things up in the discussion board. The other video that I want you to look at has to do with finding research articles. So I'm going to include that as well.